Okay, Illustrator is really easy to do this assignment. And I like using Illustrator for these kind of things. However, Photoshop will work as well. We just have to take sort of a roundabout way of doing it. So what I got to do here is, for the first one, I'm going to just start kind of in the middle. I'm going to do it below. I'm going to make a selection using my marquee tool, and that's over here on the left. And then I'm going to create a new layer in my layers menu. So now I've got layer 1 in my background. Now what I'm going to do from this point is going to go into my paint bucket tool, or you can hit G and that'll get you over there. But I want to make sure the gradient tool is selected. Now you'll see I've got, I want a warm analogous interval, so they need to be warm colors, and analogous means within 60 degrees, so they need to be somewhat close to each other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it at 14. Oops, I'm on my background color. There, so let's go like 15. Sorry, it's on my background color. Okay, so my background color, I'm going to make that, let's try there. So there's a nice dark background color. Now I want to click on my foreground color. I'm going to make that a lighter color, something like that. So I've got a dark color and a light color. They're both warm, so that should be good. So I'm going to come back to my gradient tool, and I'm going to just click right on the edge there. And the reason for that is going to be apparent in a second. What I want to do is get my starting color in the middle here, so I sort of just use that as a visual reference. So then what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go back to my background. I'm going to click on, my background. I'm going to then get my paint bucket set up, and now I'm going to go up to select, deselect. So that way we've got just the gradient sitting there, and I can now go to there. And then I'm going to aim at the middle. So I'm sort of imagining a line from here straight down. I'm going to grab that, and it's not very precise. It's definitely not as precise as it can be, but this seems to be an easy enough way and gives us a pretty good tool to work with. So I'm just going to start moving along, and all the way at the edge there. Now I would do this for all four of the intervals, right? And then from there I would just come in, oops, don't need my channels, need my layers. I would then delete this layer and end up with that there. Now, you say, why can't you just do a gradient across the whole thing? And the reason it's pretty simple is we want these colors to be the same in the squares. We want them to be consistent, whereas the gradient would actually fade from one to the other to the other. So as you're working on that, creating that gradient to sort of steal from, just sort of keep that in mind. Other things to look out for, cool analogous and the warm analogous, like those need to be within 60 degrees, the parent colors do. So here 343 and 29, so that's 30, 29, so what is that, like 45 degrees from each other, give or take. So within 60. And then the warm to cool just have to be starting on a warm color on both of those and then end on a cool color on both of those. The trick to making these last two work is you need to have a big spread on the value, as big of a spread on the value as you can. So you want this to be high key, so we know that means that the average color needs to be light. So maybe this one here is kind of light, like it's maybe intermediate but kind of light, and this one here is really light. Same with this one. Maybe your warm color is kind of dark, and then your cool color is really dark. So then you've got a lot of value. Same with saturation. You want the saturation to be spread out. And then on the cool analogous and warm analogous, these are nice because you're not limited by the value. So here you go really light to really dark, really light to really dark. And you should have some pretty good colors. So, and yeah, if you have any other questions, or if you do have any sort of questions about how I did this, please let me know, and I will hopefully be able to answer your questions.